Welcome to the show, Shelby Jo. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Nice to meet you finally. We've been talking through hams.
Yep.
Um, and for people that don't know, hams is a harm reduction group on Facebook. There's been a lot of people that I've had on the show from that group in this meeting. The first one that I had on the show was Ken Anderson. I'll use his full name because he's the founder of hams. And that was, wow, almost exactly 4 years ago now that I had him on the show. And him and I talked for like 2 hours. It was like a marathon podcast of getting to know each other and talking about how he started hams and all that kind of shit. Um, did you say you just celebrated 9 months?
Yeah, on the 6th,
On the 6th. So what is your sober date?
November 6th of 2024.
November 6th, 2024. Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
My clean date is December 5th.
All right.
I quit drinking 5.5 years ago, but I had a relapse with Xanax for 9 days in November that ended in a psych ward stay and a hospital stay and an overdose, and
Oh,
not
God.
exactly how I want to spend the holidays.
No, not at all.
Xanax is not fun, but I haven't done like opiates in seven plus years, or smoked weed in a while, or a lot of other things. But I tried quit smoking cigarettes, and I ended up being so stressed that I messaged my psychiatrist, because I'm bipolar, so I have a psychiatrist like on call. And I
Yep.
messaged my psychiatrist. I'm like, hey man, I'm dealing with all these feelings, like, that I should have just powered through. It's gonna happen. I'm quitting smoking for the first time in 25 years. And I was like, I need something to like take the edge off. He's like, well, I'll give you Valium. I said, no, I don't want that. I want something stronger.
Yeah.
Like straight up like addict seeking behavior. And
Yeah.
he's no longer my psychiatrist because of this, but like, he's like, I'll give you Xanax. I was like, okay, good. And then I went through it in 4 or 5 days, and I was like,
Oh,
that wasn't strong enough. I need something stronger. So then he gave me stronger Xanax, and then I went through that really fast and like overdosed.
oh my God.
So he's no longer my psychiatrist because it was way too easy to manipulate him.
Yeah, clearly.
So what was going on with you November 5th of 2024?
So, I've drank since I was young. Like, I started drinking at like 13, 14, just the typical stuff. Didn't really get heavy into alcohol until probably the last 4 or 5 years. I
And
had my son.
we'll backtrack. I'm just worried. We'll work our way back. I'm just
Okay.
wondering what happened at the end.
So I had been sober for almost 60 days, decided I could start drinking again. And it did, I started with just like shooters of Pink Kinky for football season. And it ended up where, well, I'm blacking out every night. So that night, I call him my husband. We're not legally married. We've been together almost a decade. I turned to him and I said, Alex, I'm hiding stuff again. I need to go and get help. So tonight's the last night. So I took all the shooters of 99, whatever flavor I had, did all those. And then we decided, well, let's go to our favorite bar, because why not? I don't remember leaving the bar. I have no idea what happened after that. He said that I was threatening to harm myself, which is in my nature.
Yeah.
And he called the police. And when they showed up, I was like shoving him and stuff. And apparently I locked everybody out of the house. I hid in the basement. They got me out. It all spiraled. My grandpa showed up and was trying to get me out of there. And this is like bits and pieces that I do remember was after my grandpa got there and the cops got there. He had me in his Bronco, and I kept like yelling out the window at the cops. And the one cop he was over my stuff. He was just over my bullshit, just like done. And so he said if I stepped out of the vehicle, they were going to arrest me. And I never I don't remember stepping out of the vehicle, but I remember being pulled out of the Bronco and slammed on the ground, arrested. And then what ensued with that was I was flailing while being arrested, and I kicked a cop twice, totally by accident. So I got public intox and 2 assaults on a person in occupation. And that jail time, I mean, I was stuck there for 3 or 4 days before my family bailed me out because they didn't know what to do. And
they gave you they what did they hit you with for kicking the cop? Like, you were drunk, and like, it's not like you were walking up to a cop and kicking him. Like,
exactly.
you were flailing about.
Yep.
Like, you were flailing. So what did they give you for that? I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I got 2 assaults on a person in occupation.
Okay, so they didn't hit you with the book then. They could have given.
Yeah, they could have definitely have charged me worse.
Yes. Okay. A person that's such a weird law to break. Kicking a person of an occupation. That's like such like a bullshit way of like dancing around a law, but still charging you with something.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like when I got charged with intent to distribute originally, with pills a long time ago. I ended up getting things dropped, and when they ended up charging me, instead of charging me for pills for opiates, they charged me, and weed, they charged me with 20 unidentifiable pills and a green leafy substance. Like, that's what they charged me with, just to give me like a charge, so I had to pay them money. You know what I mean? So that I had to pay them something like a fine wise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it's such like a bullshit thing. That's so funny. So you were kicking a person of an occupation.
Yeah.
That's so funny. And like, did you hurt him?
No.
No.
he didn't ask for restitution or for me to pay for any like, trauma that he dealt with. I mean, I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Where
like,
did you kick him?
What's that?
Where did you kick him? Like in the thigh, in the stomach, in the back?
It had to have been his like lower leg area, because they had me on the ground. They had 5 cops there. Like, I'm not big.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't strike me as big.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm 5'2". I'm range between 120 and 130 pounds. I'm pretty small. So when the one cop put his knee in my back to hold me down, and I have panic disorder, so I started freaking out.
Yeah.
And he was standing. He walked up behind me, and that's how he got kicked.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That's wild. So okay, drunken public intoxication. Yeah,
that was my second one.
Yeah, but you earned that one. Yep. You got
100%.
You earned that. Yeah, you definitely did that. But the you were flailing your fucking legs. Give me a break. That's just to give you some kind of charge, just whether you would have to pay money on it. I hate our system sometimes, all the time. So you did 4 days before your family let you go because you said know what to do with you?
Well, they just didn't know the process. So like,
and this was back in November, right? This was November 5th, like, of this past year.
Yeah, like presidential election day.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And how old are you, Shelby Jo?
33.
33. Okay, so like you haven't and let me ask you this. Let's backtrack and we'll catch up to this because now I'm curious. Brothers or sisters?
I have one little sister.
Okay. Any kind of drinking or anything with her, or just you?
She drinks normal. My mom.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, my family really doesn't have a history of alcoholism. Like, my grandma drank kind of heavily, but not, when she was younger.
Yeah, exactly. And that was back in the day. You know what I mean? Like when times were different. my grandfather drank on the stoop of the house with a 6-pack and they called him an alcoholic, but like, was he really, so like, and he did eventually quit drinking on his own. My grandfather, he ended up going like 30 years without a drink, before he passed away. So except for he came home from hospice and he said to my grandmother, Patsy, I want to, and because the kind of guy he was, he always still had beer in the house for like guests.
Yep.
He's like, I want a beer. And my grandma was like, I don't know if that's a good idea, Jerry. And my dad's like, give him a beer, Mom. He's going to die.
Right.
He knows he's going to die. He's not going to get out of hand. He's 85 years old. Give him a beer.
Yep.
So he could have a beer on his deathbed. Okay, so you grew up, my parents weren't alcoholics, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the oldest of 3, and they stopped, not that they stopped paying attention to me, but like their priorities were shifting to my younger siblings, as they would. They need more attention than I did. I was a very independent kid, and I got curious and found myself in situations that I shouldn't have been in, and then discovered things that I shouldn't have been discovering at 11, 12, 13 years old. And so I got into it really young, for drinking and weed and cigarettes. Drinking at 11, daily drinking at 12, cigarettes and weed at 13. And then opiates at 22. And then a bunch of other stuff in between, coke, hallucinogenic, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But so, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Iowa.
Iowa, okay. So a Midwestern girl.
Yep.
Okay. And how, like a big town, small town? You don't got to say the town. I'm just wondering the kind of area you grew up in.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't know that anybody will know. So like, I'm in a suburb of Cedar Rapids. So Cedar Rapids is a little bit bigger. We're like Quaker Oats is. I'm in a suburb like next to it.
I've seen the movie Cedar Rapids.
Yep.
Are you still out in Iowa?
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I've been there. I've been through there one time, and whenever I think of Iowa, I just had a couple people on from Iowa. Actually, they were on the border of Illinois, and whenever I think of Iowa, though, I think of like American Pickers.
Yep.
They were in Iowa. I forget the name of Saint John or Saint Leclaire or Leclaire something, Iowa.
Leclaire, yeah.
Leclaire, yeah. Okay, cool. It's been a while. I loved American Pickers though when it was on.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Yeah, and it's a shame he passed away, Frank.
Yep.
You know that he passed. He had like some kind of cancer.
Yep. I had heard that a while ago.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago, I think. Last year, 2 years ago. I like them a lot. Those guys, Mike Wolf and Frank Fritz. That was their names. But anyway, I get off topic sometimes. I told you that.
I do too.
Growing up in Iowa, in the 90s, early 2000s, big friend group by yourself. What was going on with Shelby Jo growing up? Like, what kind of, what was your like exploration into like, because you said you started drinking at like 13, 14, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How that happened?
I was friends with like everybody. I didn't really have a set friend group, just kind of got along with everyone. And I was like, I don't know, I was just super outgoing. Just wanted, everybody to have fun. In Iowa, I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but at 15, you can get your school permits. So you can drive to and from school and school functions.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. My mom was a single mom. She worked full time at Quaker Oats. So she worked a lot of hours to take care of.
Did divorce then?
Never met my dad. My mom was married and he was my dad growing up. We lived in Texas for some time too. But there's a whole thing with that. So, but yeah, she she worked a lot, and we spent a lot of time at our grandparents. My grandma was absolutely my best friend, but I got away with a lot. Like when I got my school permit, my mom bought me a car, and I was like, well, cool. She don't know where I am. So I mean, I would drive to like neighboring towns and stuff like that at 15.
Yeah.
So got away with a lot of stuff.
And was your mom a single mom for both you and your sister?
Yep. So my mom, when her and my dad, I call him dad, her ex-husband, when they divorced, I think she tried dating one guy, and it freaked her out so bad that somebody could possibly come in and harm us, that she never dated.
Okay.
Like, still just wasn't interested in it. So.
Okay. Yeah, because I could see that. Was there any, and you can just say, we don't want to talk about it, but was there any kind of trauma that made your mom like worried about that kind of thing happening?
And see, it's funny you say that, because I was sexually assaulted with a babysitter. We lived with her mom, and she would sexually assault me at night, but my mom had no idea until I was 14 when I finally told her.
Okay. If you don't, can we talk about this for a second? Because how old were you?
I think it was before I was in school, like 4 or 5.
Okay. And your mom was at work and you had a babysitter.
Yep, it was. So it was my mom's friend's daughter.
Okay. And
that was
you had a sister at this point.
Yep. So I would like sacrifice myself to make sure that she didn't, because I didn't really know fully like that it was wrong, but I knew what she was doing to me wasn't right. And I didn't want her to get to my sister. So like I would basically volunteer myself when she wanted to play these games.
Because this was like, you're 33, so this is like mid 90s, right? This is like mid to like 97, 98, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yep.
And she wanted to play games, and obviously that meant like, was it more, and I'm sorry if I'm trying to get an idea here, more like her touching you or her making you touch her?
It was both.
It was both.
It was
okay.
both. Yeah. And feel free to ask any questions. I've been through a lot of therapy with this. So usually it really doesn't bother me. I'm very well acclimated to talking about it, because I don't want people to feel that they can't talk about their struggles.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I have people, I have another show called The Unlicensed Therapist, where I interview people about trauma, specifically stuff like this. And I've had a lot of stories with people on this show where, it comes from a lot of like CPTSD.
Yeah.
Like this one girl, she was kind of TikTok famous for a while with hundreds of thousands of followers. She did the show, and she was in love with her stepfather from 3 to 15. And her stepfather was touching her daily because she didn't know any different from 3 to 15. And, it was and like her stepfather never did any time in jail and still married to her mom.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She has no contact with them now.
Right. I'd hope so.
But like, her mom was targeted, you know what I mean, by this predator because she had a young daughter and no father figure.
Yep.
So you can also, what I'm saying is, you can feel free to say anything to me too. And at this time, it's not going to like blow me off my seat, unfortunately, because I've been doing this. I've heard a lot of stories, and I am a firm believer of victims and survivors, which way you want to say it. I believe them over the abuser, or the accused. So yeah, I am this is a safe space to kind of share that kind of stuff. My show's bio says this is a trigger warning for everything. Like literally going into watching my show, it's a full trigger warning for everything.
Yeah.
So you're 4, 5, 6 years old. Was she a daily babysitter while your mom worked?
Yeah.
Okay. During the day?
My mom did a lot of like, I don't really know that my mom was ever on first shift. She did a lot of second and third shift. So
Okay.
it would all be, nighttime stuff. Like, I mean, and I don't think really my mom realized anything. She said she didn't really know anything until she found me like underneath the bunk beds one day, like in the fetal position. And
Okay.
I wouldn't tell her anything, wouldn't let her know what was going on. But for some reason, she just felt she needed to figure out the situation and get out of it. So,
Okay. But so she had an idea something was going on,
yeah,
but
she just wasn't sure what.
she just didn't know what.
Yeah.
And you didn't say what at that time.
Nope.
Were you afraid of retribution from this 14-year-old, like that could hurt you or your sister? Or were you embarrassed to say something? Or
I don't really know. I think it was,
didn't know what to say?
yeah, it was like a little bit of everything. Like I was always worried she would come and hurt my sister.
That's what I
I was
mean.
worried that, I would get in trouble. Like I didn't want to get in trouble for this. I don't know what it even is or why I'm doing it, but I feel like I shouldn't be doing it. But
Yeah.
so I just never said anything. And then it kind of did one of those things where my brain blocked it out until I hit puberty.
What so your mom eventually said, we're not gonna have a babysitter anymore. You're gonna, did your grandparents basically babysit you from then on?
Yep. I lived with them a lot on and off throughout my life because I was a pretty troubled, hard teenager to deal with. So
A lot of us are. And we'll get there. Like I said, I like to bounce around.
yeah.
So and I figured you spent a lot of time with your grandparents because you had said your grandma was your best friend.
Yep.
Now what sparks this memory for you to tell your mom what happened when you were 14? Was it like, did you have a nightmare, or did something happen to where like you're like, oh shit, like Susie touched me 10 years
Right.
ago, that shouldn't happen.
I think it was I had lost my
I don't know her
virginity.
name's Susie. I'm just making shit up, like, obviously.
Yeah, no, I think it was that I had lost my virginity, and that's when everything kind of flooded at once. And I didn't tell her right away because it was still very bits and piecey, like I knew there had been something that happened, but it wasn't clear yet. It was still really foggy. And I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't want to tell my mom yet. So I actually ended up starting self-mutilating. I was cutting a lot.
Okay. So sorry that I'm stopping you. I just want to make sure I want to cover my bases because this is around the time you started drinking too. Around this age is when you started drinking. You already said that. It's not a coincidence to me that you started drinking around the time that you lost your virginity and this came up and you started cutting. These things all happened for a reason at the same time. And this is at this point 20 years ago now. 2004, 2005, cutting is a huge issue. And it still is today, but it was a huge issue back then at this time. I'm very well aware of that because I'm 39. So I know this for a fact. Now, I hate asking this question, but I feel like it's that memory came up and you lost your virginity. Was it because you were being sodomized when you were younger by this teenager? Like, was she inserting?
She wasn't. Okay. Like there was some like fingering a little bit.
Okay. You don't
like a little bit, but like nothing.
Okay.
It was a lot of oral play.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's say no more. Okay, and it just you lost your virginity. Was it to your boyfriend? Was it to like out of curiosity? Was it like? Are you there? Shelby Jo? Did you get a phone call come in? Fuck.
Oh, there it is. I timed
Yeah,
out. That was really weird.
a phone call come in?
No, nothing came through. That's why I was like, what happened? And my Wi-Fi is all good. I double checked it.
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
So you lost your virginity. Was it, what I was saying, was it to a boyfriend? Was it out of curiosity to like a friend, or, what happened there?
I I don't fully remember. I think it was a guy I was seeing, or a guy that I liked, that I wanted him to like me more, type of thing.
Had you
And
been
just
drinking already at this point?
Yes.
Were you drunk when this happened?
I don't think I was drunk, but I wasn't sober either.
Okay. Were you already cutting at this point?
Yes.
Okay. What got you into cutting? Where did you discover cut? Because like cutting always, nowadays it's easy to discover cutting because of the internet. But like, was it the internet then that introduced you to cutting?
Nope. I actually, I had been in different therapies. I had eating disorders and that. But I wasn't in the right therapy to help me with my emotions. I didn't like to let my emotions out. I was one that, I didn't cry in front of people. I didn't like, outside of anger, that's like all I ever felt. So I actually read a book called Cut, and it just detailed this whole way that this girl goes about every time she gets upset. She wants to be sad or emotional. She just cuts her wrist. And I was like, well, why not? And then I became addicted to it.
What did you use mostly?
Because my mom worked at Quaker, we had a lot of box cutter blades.
Okay.
So I had those, we had, because I was real known for the like Amanas, which is a lot of Amish stuff. And my family would buy steak knives and different knives like that. And they were extremely sharp. So I would use those.
And always your wrists or your thighs too?
Wrist, thighs, stomach.
Your stomach's a big one too. Yeah.
Yep. You can hide it easy.
Yeah. And I've heard people like to cut their chest too when they've been SA'd, because they feel like, if I cut my chest, nobody will look at it. And it's kind of like a preservation kind of thing when you're dealing with memories or trauma from being sexually assaulted. Because it sounds like yours was pretty ongoing, your sexual abuse. It wasn't a one-time occurrence.
Mm-mm.
No. So when you told your mom finally, at this point, this girl is in her 20s, when you tell your mom, and I believe you said it was your mom's friend's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Was it still a friend of your mom's?
No.
Okay. Had you guys moved out of a town to a different town at this point, or?
We, like I said, we kind of live in that suburb, so I don't know where they ever moved or what happened with them. I have no idea.
So there was never any kind of repercussions for that girl.
My mom had told me at one point, and I don't remember when, that she was in jail or prison, and I can't remember what for, because I never came forward, and I begged my mom to never say anything.
Because you don't want to have to go through the court. You don't want to have to be told that you're a liar.
Yep. Why are you just now bringing this up 10 plus years later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those, if you're watching this and you have a child who is under 13 who tells you, or not even if you have a child who says, I was 12 years old and I was assaulted by my uncle, that uncle can be charged if legally in the whole country, just so you know the law, if a child is assaulted sexually under 13 years old, there's no statute of limitations.
Nope.
There's zero statute of limitations, and they can be charged at any time.
Yep.
And I always find that's important to remind the viewers that, because a lot of parents are watching this that might have, unfortunately, that happen sometime where their child says that, and they might think, oh shit, I wish I would have known that then.
Yeah, but you
No,
still have time.
you still have time. There's
Yep.
always time. Anyway, thank you for, being so forthcoming about talking about that, because it's never easy to kind of,
Yeah.
and I know you said that you've, had therapy and you've talked about it and processed it. It's still not easy. It's
No.
still not easy. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's nothing else I can really say besides that, because, nothing I can do about it and stop it from happening. But it sounds like you've been through a lot of therapy for it, which is an amazing thing.
Yep.
And it sounds like your mom had an idea, like, I want to protect these girls and I can't trust any guy around them. Right. Is that what that's what we were saying before we got on the topic of SA.
Yep.
Was you had said that your mom never really trusted guys around you girls.
Nope.
That makes sense. It was a different time. It's a different time today.
Yeah.
And if I was a single dad of a couple girls, or if I was a single mom of a couple girls, I sure as shit wouldn't trust a lot of, guys out there.
Oh yeah.
What I've seen and heard in the news. Like, I pay especially when I do this show, I've heard horror stories. So what was your introduction? Because, like, I know my introduction to alcohol was The Outsiders, the movie The Outsiders. I wanted to be cool and drink like they were. And so, like, my parents, they weren't drinkers, but they knew how to throw big parties. And parties would end, and all the leftover liquor would go into the basement, and go just collecting dust until Curious JD goes into the basement and starts grabbing bottles and making drinks. You know what I mean? So, like, my first drink was Captain and Coke my first drink was Captain and Coke at 11 years old, from sneaking it from my basement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what was, and then when something bad happened, some trauma, similar, not exactly similar, but trauma, and I don't got to get into it. It's not my story. When I was 12, I turned to daily drinking because my parents weren't paying attention to the liquor.
Yeah.
I could hide bottles in my bedroom because my mom never went into my bedroom, neither did my dad. So I could hide bottles in there, and at night just take swigs from the bottle until I fell asleep.
Right.
What was your introduction to, like, alcohol? How did that happen for little Shelby Jo? And how old were you?
I think I started smoking cigarettes as well, young, at about 13.
Yep. Did your mom smoke?
Yes.
Okay. So it was easy for you to just, like, grab a smoke and give it a shot.
Steal a cowboy killer and walk off.
The first cigarette was a red?
Yes.
Oh man. I
didn't love that.
So that's how you learned how to inhale with the red, with the Marlboro Red. That was your introduction to inhaling smoke.
Yep.
The first thing I ever inhaled was a Black and Mild.
Oh.
That's how I learned how to inhale on the railroad tracks, in the woods off the railroad tracks. My friend and I got fucking, oh my God. And then I would smoke Black and Milds and inhale the entire thing. And finally I was like, I might as well just smoke cigarettes. It'd be healthier for me. And I switched to cigarettes, and I never went back. Like, I smoked a black here and there, but I smoked cigarettes for 25 years until I quit this past January.
Yeah.
Finally, I quit. So you started, your first, like, thing that you ever did illegally was then Reds, Marlboros. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
And then what happened?
I hung out with a lot of the older kids. I don't know why. Like, I guess a lot of my mom's friends had kids that went to school with me that were older. And so I would get invited to parties, or I had my older cousins and we would go to parties. And I got an underage drinking ticket. I think I was 14 or 15 when it happened. Um, but I didn't drink daily though. Like it was just on weekends every once in a while. Summer would be like every weekend, but otherwise I didn't
Yeah.
like drink heavily.
Okay. More of like, drinking beer or drink. What were you mostly
Oh
drinking?
no,
Beer?
we started straight with hard liquor. I mean, we
Okay.
were
Yeah.
drinking Jack and SoCo.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Southern Cover. I didn't.
SoCo, Dr.
I was the
Pepper.
same way. Yep. Rumplemans. I
Oh,
didn't start blackberry brandy. Like I said, Captain Morgan was my first ever drink. Captain and
yep,
Coke. Um, but I didn't start drinking beer until sophomore year, and that was to play like beer pong
yep,
and flip cup and all the games. But besides that, I still drank liquor. I only
yep,
ever drank beer just to play the games.
yep. Didn't
Like
beer didn't have the appealing taste though. Like you couldn't mix it with things to make it taste okay.
yeah, I never liked the way beer tasted. Like eventually, I liked twisted tea,
Hmm.
and I could drink a lot of twisted tea, but I could never drink a lot of beer because I never liked the way beer tasted. I was more like I would go to a bar, go up to the bar and be like, let me get a double shot of Jack and Coke, or let me get a double Jack and Coke and a double shot of Jack, and do a double shot of Jack and then sip on a double Jack and Coke, and that's how my night would start because my name is JD and I have to drink Jack Daniels. That was my drink of choice for the last few years was Jack Daniels. Um, and so you were more of a liquor than drinker.
Yeah, yep. Started, and I mean, it was like bad for a while. Like there was a party I remember chugging like a bottle of Jaeger. Can't, don't know why. Wasn't
Yeah,
fun.
Jaeger had a huge phase from like 2006 to 2009.
Yep, yep. But I I ended up switching to beer, and then I really didn't drink hard liquor for a while, like a long time. Like my hard liquor for the longest time was like pink kinky and like cherry bombs.
Hmm.
Don't I, I don't know why I switched, but
Yeah, that'll happen. That'll happen. It's and for me, like I said, I switched because of playing the games.
yeah.
But I never I drank like natty light, like natural light. Like I didn't
Hmm.
like the way beer tasted, and I eventually would always go back to liquor, and I got so tired of. And then when I turned 21, I was drinking like I moved out at 19.
Hmm.
So like I had my one bedroom apartment that everybody would go to drink.
Yeah.
And then I turned 21 and I was at the bars 4 to 5 nights a week. And if I wasn't at the bar, I was throwing a little party at my apartment. And if I wasn't throwing a party, I was still drinking at home. Um, and then when I was about to turn 22, I was like searching for different things. I was doing some coke, I was doing some acid, I was doing some ecstasy, I was doing some shrooms. I was trying different things to see like what was next, because this
Right.
alcohol is not fun. At this point, it'd been a decade of drinking all the time, and it wasn't fun anymore, and it wasn't like doing it for me. And
Yeah.
then and I pinpointed the date actually to October 17th is I figured out the date. October 17th, 2008. It was about 2 weeks after I turned 22, and I was introduced to Percocets, opiates, and I was in love. Like I did not need alcohol anymore. I
Mm-mm.
barely needed weed anymore. all I wanted were these pills every single
Mhm.
day for another 10 years. And that's what I did for a decade. Um, except for when my fiance died. I was engaged in my mid 20s to my childhood best friend. And she was bipolar schizophrenic and took her life
Oh, that's
um,
awful.
in, in 2015, almost a little over 10 years ago. And I was devastated, obviously, as my best friend, since we were kids. I would have been devastated even if we had not been together because we had grown up best friends.
Mhm.
But then we were, boyfriend, girlfriend,
Right.
fiancés, and we were both, in addiction. She was an alcoholic. I was a drug addict. And, because she would have to drink till the voices went away. And so, like, I co signed her drinking. She co signed my using, and no one stopped us. And we just did our thing, and no one judged us. We didn't
Yeah.
judge each other. Everyone judged us, but we didn't judge each
Right.
other. So when she died, I spun out of control, and I went to drinking heavily every day again, using heavily anything that I could put into my body, drugs, alcohol, mixing cocaine with opiates to try to stop my heart while drinking all night. Like I was fucking done.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to grieve. All I
Yeah.
knew how to do was escape. Um, so your high school years, we'll go back to you. That's a little bit about me. Your high school years was mostly drinking liquor.
Mhm.
Eventually you got into beer, you said, right?
Yep.
Um, did you go to college? Did you finish high school?
I graduated high school. I was taking a couple years off because I wanted to be 100% certain in what I wanted to do.
Yeah, of
And
course.
then um, at 19, I found out I was pregnant. So college dream put on hold. Uh, had my oldest in 2012
It
in
was
July.
was it a serious boyfriend at the time or
We had been seeing each other for a while, and we moved in together into Iowa City. So we had been together for a little bit, not long enough for a baby, but birth control isn't always 100%. So it failed, and I freaked out. Um, but it was fine. My pregnancy was really easy, but I ended up having her almost 7 weeks early.
and you
So
quit drinking, I would assume, because you weren't that bad
yeah,
at
I
that
didn't
time?
drink.
Yeah.
Nope.
Cigarettes, no problem.
Cigarettes, it took a little more to quit. So I
Yeah.
quit later in the pregnancy, which is why I blame her coming early. I'm like, I did this, like, but they
It's
said my water just ruptured for, they
yeah.
don't know why.
It's that and that's, yeah, yeah. So yeah, don't smoke when you're pregnant. Obviously, I'm not
Right.
here to say smoke when you're pregnant. But sometimes it's more dangerous when you are an everyday smoker to just suddenly stop.
It's a shock to the system.
Yeah. And I know, like, somebody who, when I met her, she was 3 months pregnant, and she was still smoking. She probably smoked 5, 6 cigarettes a day. It's like she was putting down a pack or two a day, but
Right.
still, she was smoking 5 or 6 cigarettes a day. And she did that her entire pregnancy, and he was born completely healthy, nothing going on, and very rambunctious little kid, ran
Yeah.
around like crazy, like fucking filled with energy, like he still is, completely a healthy kid. He's 4 years old now.
Yeah.
I don't see him anymore. Actually, I just saw his dad literally hours ago riding a bike. um he was my sponsee for a while, when I
Okay.
first, and his girlfriend was my wife's caregiver because my wife has MS.
Okay.
So my wife has a caregiver, in-home caregiver while I work. I work from home, but while I'm at work, in my office, which I'm sitting in right now,
Yeah.
there's somebody here. And right now it's our best friend, Kelsey, who is amazing. She's also in recovery and she's our best friend. And we're all in recovery together, and it, works really well. We all work different kind of programs. I do NA. My wife does Recovery Dharma. Have you ever heard of Recovery Dharma?
I haven't.
It's a Buddhist approach to recovery.
Okay.
So it uses a Buddhism, approach and principles and meditations and that kind of stuff. And my wife found it on Zoom and absolutely loves it. And what it does. It's not for me. I'm not good at meditating, to be honest. I don't like to meditate. I'll do it for my wife here and there, sleep meditations, but like I don't like to meditate, if I'm being honest. So I don't partake in Recovery Dharma. But either way, you get pregnant, you have your daughter. And how long do you stay with that guy, or are you still with him today?
No, I'm not with him today.
Okay.
We stayed together. Gosh, I want to say maybe until my oldest was about a year and a half. And after I had her, I didn't really drink. They think something happened with my hormones and that when she came early, and I became agoraphobic, which for anyone that doesn't know, you have a fear of being outside. Like I didn't leave my house for 3 years. Like I sold my car because I couldn't drive. This is when panic attacks started. And I actually ended up getting prescribed Klonopin, which back then they didn't monitor it as well. And I would doctor hop because it wasn't as needed. 3 times a day as needed. And then, I was doing it like once a week to try to just, help myself get out of the house. Need it multiple times a week. Now I need it, before I knew it, I was taking it 3 times a day, every single day. And when I would try to go out, it became this thing where I was, I thought I knew the half-life well enough to take it to where I felt well enough to get to a bar, and then I would down like 3 tall boys in 5 minutes.
So just you started drinking. You started drinking and leaving the house to go drinking because you would get up the nerve to leave the house because of the Klonopin.
Yep.
And for anybody who doesn't know, mixing a benzo with alcohol is so dangerous.
Yep.
And a huge no-no. And because you can black out so easily.
Respiratory failure.
Yeah. You can stop breathing so easily. Like, memory loss happens from benzos just as a side effect, let alone not even mixing it with alcohol, let alone at a bar when you're not in a safe space like your house.
Yep.
Let alone if you're agoraphobic and you don't even like to leave your fucking house to be.
Right. Yeah, it was.
How many doctors were you seeing? Like, how many Klonopin were you taking a day?
So I never went over the 3 a day before. Okay. So like, as far as doctors, I was saying, I seen my psychiatrist and my therapist, but then this is when urgent cares were starting to pop up. So I would go into an urgent care. Oh my God, my chest is really tight. I'm having pain on the left side. My shoulder hurts. I think I'm having a heart attack. Nope. Oh, your heart's fine. Oh, maybe it's just a panic attack. Well, do you take something for that? Yeah, I take Klonopin. Well, here's another prescription for it. And that was it. I could never have run out of pills. Like my panic disorder was now like, oh my God, if you run out of these, you can't function. Yeah. Even though you can't function on them, but a little more functioning with them. So I just got to the point. What's that?
How old were you at this time?
I probably would have been 22, 23.
And were you still with that guy or no?
We had broken up in between that time, from when the agoraphobia started to I was on those pills for, like you said, the memory loss is,
Yeah.
I think, a couple years I was on them. Maybe.
I believe it. Like I said, I told you early on, like I relapsed with Xanax back in November, and even those 9 days are a blur.
Yeah.
I was going to NA meetings high. I was doing interviews, like podcast interviews high. I was, doing couples therapy with my wife high, individual therapy high, working high. Don't remember shit.
Yeah.
And it's just that simple as that. And I literally, did you ever get into Xanax?
No, nope.
Okay.
I never
So,
went further than the Klonopin. So
which is good because, I'm a big guy, I'm like 380. I'm a big dude. But like I was putting down when I relapsed, he gave me 91 milligram, the blue Xanax 1 milligrams. And I went through them in 5 days. Um, and I said, "Hey, Ryan, not strong enough. I told you they weren't going to be strong enough. They're not strong enough, and they're already gone." He said, "Okay, here's 2 milligrams," and he wrote me a script of 2 milligram ones for 90 of them. And I in a 24-hour period, I did 30 of them.
that is
And
insane.
in a 12-hour period, in a 24-hour period, I went through 30 of them, and that's including 20 in 12 hours.
Oh my
And
God.
ended up in a hospital overdosing.
Oh yeah.
By 7 a.m. And yeah, it's just apparently I was saying I was going to take my life. So they put me in the hospital for 3 days to come off of the Xanax, the right way to make sure I didn't die. And then once I was done with the Barbitrol or whatever it's called, they sent me to a psych ward for 72 hours for a 72-hour hold.
Yep.
And I had been to rehab before for opiates, but never to a psych ward. And I'll tell you what, I never want to go back to a psych ward ever again. I'd much rather go to rehab than a psych ward. At least I could smoke cigarettes in a rehab. I can't smoke cigarettes in a psych ward because they don't want you to have a lighter.
Nope.
You can't have. I couldn't even have. I brought my NA book with me, and I couldn't have a spiral notebook because of the spiral metal part.
Pull it out and hurt yourself with it.
Yep, or hurt somebody else. Yep. Crazy. I lost laces, to my hoodie.
Yep.
It was
Take that December. String right out.
Yep. I had lost my drawstrings to my shorts, my mesh shorts. Yep. Oh man, like mesh shorts I was wearing yesterday. I don't got strings to them. Fuck. The reminder of every single time. Tangled webs we weave. Okay, so you're doing a bunch of Klonopin. You're drinking. You're single mom. Living on your own?
Living with my mom.
Living with your mom. Mm-hmm. Does your mom or anybody catch on eventually? Like, hey, Shelby Jo, something's going on. Like, is everything okay?
I don't think anybody really knew. Like, my mom, I think, ended up like being so focused on me going from being this like carefree, super outgoing person to all of a sudden like a shell of who I was. Like, so she was kind of trying to focus on helping me. Like, I mean, I couldn't even go into a grocery store with her. So I think she kind of just focused on that and didn't realize that these pills could become a problem. And, oh, well, Shelby's going out every once in a while now, so she must be feeling better. Well, no, I'm just being dumb. So I don't know that she ever did until I came to her. When I came to her, she took it because it just got to the point where I had all these bottles of pills. Yeah, I was only taking them 3 times a day, but instead of morning, noon, and night, I'm taking them like back to back within an hour of each other. And so I finally went to her and I said, Mom, if I don't go and get help now, I'm going to take every bottle of these pills and swallow them because I can't keep living like this. I'm tired of it.
What did she say?
Right. She took me to the hospital, and
Good.
I ended up in a grippy sock stay. Not my first one. Wasn't my last one either, unfortunately. But they, they let me withdraw under supervision. I mean, I remember taking the books, and because I was like, these people in here are legitimately crazy. Like I'm crazy. These people, I don't know what's like. That guy's talking to himself. That one thinks he can do some Back to the Future stuff on the bike that you pedal on.
I was just,
No.
I just had a guy on my show last Saturday. I interviewed him. His name is Matt. I met him in the psych ward.
Yeah.
And we were the only addicts in the psych ward. Everybody else was in the psych ward for mental health issues, or they were in the psych ward in lieu of jail time, which is even more dangerous.
Yeah.
And this was like in North Philly. And, there was a lot of homeless people in the psych ward too, because they were escaping the winter time in Philly.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just mayhem in there. And we had a bunch of stories between us, for our time that we spent there. And we became good friends. And to this day, we're still good friends. And that's why he was on my show recently, was just to like tell our stories and everything and how we met and all that kind of shit. So like, I know how crazy you can get in the crazy place. Like, I know it's definitely a psych ward for a reason. That's why I said, like, I'm good with going back. I'm all set on going back there. Especially when you're in the inner city ones,
I can't imagine
that, they're escaping the winter and you get harsh winters, I'm sure, in Iowa. I know you guys get harsh winters.
Yeah.
And like we do in the Northeast, we get some harsh winters too. So man, I did not miss. So how long was that grippy sock stay?
I think that one was 6 or 7 days.
Okay.
They did manage to get me on like a good regimen, that started actually helping me. And then I gradually was able to, start leaving my house again. And my panic attacks were lessening. Like it was a road because I tried a bunch of different meds before finally landing on Prozac, which Prozac helped me. Prozac saved my life. If it wasn't for Prozac.
I'm bipolar, OCD, anxiety, depression, addict, alcoholic, I'm on Cymbalta and Lamictal and gabapentin. They've tried a bunch of other things, The one thing I did not like about because sometimes for people that don't know about the psych ward is it's about trying to figure out the right meds for the right people. And they want to make sure you're on the right, like you said, regimen and medication wise.
Yep.
The one I went to was very haphazard with their medications. And when I say that, I mean, they put me on 500 milligrams of lithium without checking my levels. I didn't know that I was supposed to have levels checked until I got a new psychiatrist. She's like, well, what were your levels at when they put you on 500 milligrams? Because 500 milligrams is a lot. It's a big dose to like just start somebody on. I was like, what do you mean by levels? She's like, well, they took your blood, I'm sure, before they put you on that. I said, no, I walked into the psych ward and they said, we're going to put you on this. And I was immediately put on that. And she was like, they never did any kind of blood draw. I said, no, I was only there 3 days. She's like, oh my God. And she was like, well, we should get your levels checked. And she's like, is there any side effects you're worried about? I was like, well, now that you mention it, I'm a big guy. Does lithium cause weight gain? She said, yes, it does. I'm like, okay, I want off of it right away.
Right.
Like, don't even check levels. I don't want to be on it. And she's like, well, it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks to taper down. I said, let's taper. And that was a bitch coming off of it. When you're me and you have mental health, I don't know. Do you deal with mania ever?
Yep. So my diagnosis are very similar to yours. I have OCD, bipolar, um, anxiety, generalized anxiety, panic disorder, depression, manic,
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah. I just dealt with and I have severe insomnia.
Yep.
I've been a severe insomniac since I was a kid. And I just dealt with mania a few weeks ago. Just to relate to your situation. Um, I woke up I work from home Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 7 to 6:30. And I'm on the phones all day long for a hospital system scheduling. And I have that long shift because I have a long lunch break to do NA at noon every day on Zoom. So
Mhm.
they give me an extended lunch break to do NA every day at noon. And I woke up at 6 a.m. for work. I worked 7 to 6:30 on a Monday. And then I did NA, my usual thing on Monday night. I fell asleep around 11:30. I woke up an hour later at 12:30. And then I didn't fall back asleep again until 2 a.m. Friday night. Literally all day Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday, and Friday, I was awake. And
Yeah.
Monday, if you think about it, for the most part. No, and I didn't, and I quit drinking coffee in the end of June.
Yeah.
Like cold turkey, I quit drinking coffee because I thought coffee was keeping me awake. So I stopped drinking coffee completely. So I got through that entire week on straight mania. Didn't
Yeah.
miss an hour of work. I worked every single minute because rent was due. I needed to make sure I was working.
Absolutely.
Um, so like no coffee, like I'm drinking energy drinks now, but I only drink them when I do podcasts. I
Yeah.
don't like to drink them when I'm work because I get too, you know,
Hmm.
I don't want to be too talkative when I'm working.
Yeah.
I want to be talkative when I'm talking to you.
Right.
um, so, because I work on the phones, I'm scheduling. I don't want to talk to somebody for 7 minutes if I get too
No.
chatty, but I want to be chatty with you. Um,
Exactly.
so, I don't drink energy drinks while I work, generally speaking. So that week, I got through that entire week of work on straight mania. And then the crash happened.
Yep.
And then when the crash happened, the depressions seeped in.
Yep.
And it's just such a bitch. It's such a bitch.
It is.
Um, and there's no perfect medication for it. For those
Nope.
who don't know, when Shelby Jo and I both say we're bipolar, our doctors can be like, we're going to put you on this med, Shelby Jo. We're going to put you on this JD, and we're going to see what works. If it doesn't work in 6 months, we're going to take you off that and then put you on this. And there's no fix. Everybody's brain chemistry is different.
Yep.
And it's literally, grasping at straws. It's throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Yep.
It's, trial and error is huge in mental health. I feel like we're a guinea pig sometimes, just being poked
Yeah.
and prodded at.
It's
When were you
accurate though.
when were you diagnosed bipolar? Because I wasn't until my mid-30s.
So I was diagnosed young. Like
Okay.
I was 17. So
Okay.
like a lot of my current doctors don't necessarily take the diagnosis as seriously as they think more so major depressive and manic.
Mm-hmm.
So they've never really done anything further with it to like debunk or not. But I do have the extreme highs, the extreme lows, the snaps, and some diagnoses people don't realize like some of them take forever to get. Like it took me almost 2 years to get my borderline personality disorder diagnosis.
Oh, that's a pain.
And there's nothing medication wise they can do for
No,
me. This
there's
is
not.
just a ton of therapy.
Yeah.
But
I had a snap 2 weeks ago on my wife when I was in that mania. When I was in the depression part of it, the down part.
yep.
Um, I had a horrible, vivid nightmare that involved my fiance that killed herself.
Mhm.
And it involved my dad who passed away 2 years ago. And it was just not a good dream at all. And my
Yep.
wife's just like, "Are you okay? Like, I love you." And I said, "All right, fine, that's enough."
Yeah.
Like I didn't mean to, and I don't even remember doing it. My wife said they were upset with me for snapping at them. I don't remember it. We talked
Right.
about it in therapy, and I apologized for it, but like I don't remember it.
You don't remember it. And also, like, sometimes I think depending on where you're at in that roller coaster, like, it doesn't seem as big as it actually is. Cause we're also in couples therapy and stuff. So, like, he'll be like, I just asked you like a little question. You just snap at me. Well, why are you asking me that? Why can't you figure it out? Why don't you just do this? Like, and I'm like, looking back, I'm like, I don't see it that way. But I don't think he's lying about it. Like, I probably am just like disassociated with where I'm at.
Yep. No, for sure. And so let's catch up some more. You're out of the psych ward, because that's how we got on this rant. You get out of the psych ward. When do you meet? We'll call him your common law husband, because that's what he is basically when you've been together for a while. How long have you been with him?
So we originally met in 2016. I had already had my middle daughter. I had her in 2015. And me and her dad, we were not like, we were together, but it wasn't like a long relationship. So, had her, and I met him. I was starting to bar hop again, because from when I had my, outside of like the drinking on the benzos, outside of that, and once I stopped taking them, I didn't really drink again. Maybe I'd have a couple beers here or there, but I didn't really drink. So,
were you still smoking cigarettes?
Yeah, I still do to this day.
Still do to this day. Still Reds?
No, God, no. I actually I switched to menthols, and then my doctor at that psych ward stay was like, "Hey, you don't vape in that." And I was like, "Well, no." He's like, "Well, your lungs don't rattle, so you don't vape." He's like, "But your lungs are very depreciated, like lower." And I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "Do you smoke menthols?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "If you can't quit now, like stop." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I switched to lights. I smoke lights now. My grandma's like dying wish was for me to quit, so I'm working on that.
I jumped around a lot over the years, with regulars to menthols. I smoked a lot of Marlboro menthol lights, in high school. And I don't know if you were old enough to appreciate the sales of, they used to do buy one, get one packs back in the day. And your screen's kind of frozen. I'm not sure. Okay. Used to be
my screen keeps freezing, but I can still hear you. That was weird.
Okay. Yeah. It used to be buy one, get ones. And back in like 2003, 4, Marlboro 27s came out, Blend 27.
Yep. That's what my mom still smokes.
And that's what I started buying them, because they were buy one, get one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, these are what I want to smoke. And I smoked them for a long time. And then I started smoking Camel Crushes.
That's where I was.
And I was only smoking them for the regular, not for the menthol.
Mm-hmm.
And but I loved crushing the little ball at the end.
Yep.
But then I would be so high on opiates, and I would chain smoke, that I would crush them in the beginning and be like, well, I'm not going to waste it. And I was like, oh, this menthol tastes really good, actually. And then I started smoking the menthol versions.
Yep.
And then I was like, these aren't strong enough. And then I went to the Camel full flavored menthols. And then I got into rehab in 2018, and everybody was smoking menthol. And everybody wanted my cigarettes. And I always had cigarettes because, I've been smoking since 13.
Right.
And I was a pack or 2-pack a day kind of guy. And I always had to have cigarettes. So like all these people were bumming cigarettes off me at AA meetings, NA, in the rehab. I'm like, fuck. And then the one day I was like in line at 7-Eleven, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to move for a 27 today. I'm going to buy some 27s.
And nobody bugged you after they found that out.
people are like, hey man, you got a cigarette? I'm like, yeah, I got a cigarette for you. And I break them out. They're like, oh, what do you got there? I'm like, Marlboro Blend 27s. They're like, never mind. And I'm like, oh, this is a deterrent. And I smoked 27s up until when I quit smoking January 1st.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how I quit if you're looking for a way to quit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have health insurance?
Yes.
I got a script from my doctor for patches because patches are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And they give you, like, I'm looking right at them in my office. They give you a breakdown of like how much did you smoke, and they give you a shitload of patches with certain strengths. Honestly, I used the patch for 10 days and then I just said fuck it. And I haven't used a patch or touched a cigarette or touched a vape or used nicotine gum or anything since January 10th.
Damn.
And, you know, I was just telling somebody actually not long before we got on here that they're trying to quit. They're on like day 3 and struggle. And they're like, well, why did it work for you? And I was flat out. I was like, well, the reason it's working for me, I strongly believe this. It's the same reason I was able to quit drinking 5.5 years ago. And it's the same reason I was able to quit doing opiates was I wanted to quit.
Yeah.
I didn't need to quit. Like, yeah, I needed to quit. I needed to quit smoking cigarettes the day I started smoking cigarettes at 13. I needed to quit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't going to work until I wanted it for myself and not needed it for somebody else.
Yeah.
The day that I changed my mindset to I want this and not I need this is when it worked. So until you tell yourself over and over, I want this, not I need this, that's when it'll work, to be completely honest. It's that mindset of like, I want this and not I need it. I need air. Yeah. I need water. Yeah. I need food. But for something that's like addicting, you have to want to stop, not need to stop. You know, drugs, I needed to stop all the time. But, you know, I needed to stop because my family didn't want me to do drugs.
Right. Not because you didn't want to do drugs.
I didn't. Yeah. I wasn't ready. Well, when I was ready to quit doing opiates, I went to rehab on my own. No one forced me to go. I went on my own, and I haven't touched pills in 7.5 years.
Yeah.
And I truly believe it's because I wanted that shit and not needed it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with cigarettes. Like everyone asked me, you know, because I was the only one in my family that smoked cigarettes. My brother, sister, parents never touched a cigarette a day in their lives. And here I am, 25-year smoker, being begged to ask to quit smoking since the day they found out at 16 that I had been smoking. So I got away with it for 3 years.
3 years.
And so, you know, and by that time I was like, I'm 16 years old. You're not going to stop me, you know?
Right.
And so I was working. I started working at a young age. So I wasn't spending your money on my cigarettes. I was spending my money on my cigarettes.
Yep.
So they couldn't cut me off money wise. I made my own money to afford my shit. So that, you know, that was why they knew they couldn't stop me, but they asked me to stop all the time. But until I said to my mom, like, hey, I quit smoking. She's like, oh my God, you quit smoking? I'm like, yeah. She goes, why'd you quit? It's like, because I wanted to.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm so happy, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, that was January 1st. And it's today, it's going to come out later, but it's August 10th. And haven't put a cigarette in my mouth since January 1st at like 1 p.m. when I finished my last one in my pack. And
that's amazing.
I truly believe it's because I want to be done smoking and not need to be done.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's my spiel on anybody who wants to. Anybody who feels like they need to quit smoking cigarettes, stop needing it and start wanting it, then that shit'll work. And that's my advice on cigarettes, because until you want it, it's not gonna.
You can't do it. You won't achieve it.
No, because you still want that cigarette. You need to stop. You've been needing to stop for years, Shelby Jo.
Right.
Until you want it, it's not gonna work. And I'm not trying to be a dickhead. I'm just being realistic. That's when it's worked for me.
Yep.
Patch worked for 10 days to get me over the hump of, the physical withdrawals.
Yep.
But it's the mental, driving in a car by myself. Oh my God. That was a pain in the
That's
ass.
the hardest.
That is so hard. Driving in a car by myself, the radio on. I'm a big Howard Stern fan, listening to my Stern.
Yeah.
And, if I'm in a bad mood, getting into an argument with somebody, my family or my wife or something, like I'm going to go for a ride and let up a smoke and, listen to some radio or some shit. That was some peace. That was my meditation. But no, you find other ways now,
Yep.
and I'll be 39 the end of September. And I started this June of 1999.
Yeah.
It was time. It was time. As simple as that. So you like we said, you kept smoking. You had your middle kid. That didn't work. We're back on track. Didn't work out with that father. You weren't really serious. And then you were back to bar hopping, right?
Yeah, not like badly at this point.
Okay.
Like I said, this is kind of when I got into like Pink Kinky and Cherry Bombs, and I was like, yeah, like let's go. He's actually a karaoke host locally at his business has grown. He's now at a few different bars. But at the time, like, I mean, I didn't want a relationship. I was not interested. Like, to be completely honest, and we still laugh about it to this day, I walked into this bar, looked at a friend, and I said, hey, that DJ's real hot. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, I'm going to sleep with him tonight. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yep. And it was his birthday. So the stars aligned and he was going to have an after party. And I was like, am I invited? He's like, yep. And we slept together, and he was like, do you want to like stay? Like, we can get breakfast in the morning. I'm like, oh no, absolutely not. No, gotta go. And we stayed really good friends though for quite a while. And we didn't start dating until like we started seeing each other without putting like any kind of label on it for a while in 2017. So it's been since then. We've had some ups and downs, some breakups, and being apart for a little bit, but overall it'll be going on 10 years.
I was laughing because that's an awesome story. That's the reason I was laughing. Just the confidence of you walking in like, I'm gonna do that.
Yep.
They say in recovery, and I was very big into AA when I got clean from opiates in 2018. Mm-hmm. And I lived on my own, and I was single for the first, not single, but like I was sober and single for the first time in my life. And I was like, but you can't get into a relationship your first year of sobriety. That's what they say. Mm-hmm. That's like a rule. But I was dating, it didn't stop me from dating.
Right.
I was a Tinder whore. And, I was a very honest person about that too. And I think that was almost too honest to a fault.
Yeah.
And then I matched with my wife, like weeks before my 1 year. And my wife had just literally was 6 weeks moved out from her husband. Her first husband, like literally just moved out and started their new life, because they're non-binary now. I apologize. Their new life. And we matched, and my opening question was always the same: was what are you looking for on here? Like, let's not bullshit each other. Like, what are you looking for on here?
Right.
And they're like, I'm not really quite sure. What are you looking for? And I was like, really, to be honest, friends with benefits. And they're like, yeah, me too.
Perfect.
And, like, perfect. Like, that's great. But we lived like an hour away, and they had, now my stepson, but a 5-year-old during the week that would go to his dad's on the weekends. Yep. So when we matched, it was like on a Wednesday, and we talked until like Sunday when we could meet finally. And in between that Wednesday and Sunday, we had talked so much that it was already going to be more than just friends with
Yep.
benefits.
Yep.
And like we met, we slept together within the first half hour. And as soon as we, got done sleeping together, we both said, I love you at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
And it's been a wrap since.
Yeah.
Their marriage divorce finally happened a year and a half later because of paperwork and COVID. Everything got slowed up.
Yep.
And the day that the divorce papers came in signed, they had to go to their lawyer and get their part of it signed. And as soon as that happened, we walked across the street to the courthouse and got our marriage certificate.
License. Nice.
Yeah. And our best friend married us in our living room during COVID with the three of us. And that was our wedding.
That's
and
awesome.
My dad was so happy he didn't have to throw a party that he gave me $1,000 as a thank you. And my mom didn't care because it turns out for many years, my mom told all of her girlfriends that I was going to be the one to elope and not say a word. And so that's exactly what I did.
Had a feeling.
We didn't tell any of them. We're like, hey, by the way, we got married. Here's our marriage license. LOL, like into the family group during COVID. And they're like, is this serious? And we're like, yep, we got married. But and then eventually my wife got diagnosed with MS and we've figured it out together. And, we both quit drinking together on the same day, on leap day of 2020. We both quit drinking and COVID shut down everything. So I know what it's like to have that kind of, up and down and kind of relationship that kind of starts out of nowhere.
Yeah.
0 to 100 and then it's rocky. I get it. Do you have any kids with him?
Yes, we had our son in 2020.
Okay, so you had a son during COVID.
Yep.
During COVID or before COVID?
I actually was pregnant like as they were announcing COVID shutdowns, like St. Patty's Day. So that's when we found out was the day after St. Patty's Day.
When were they born?
November 19th.
Oh, okay. That's funny because I got married a week later. I got married November 27th.
There you go. Yeah.
Of 2020. So now, but after you gave birth again, COVID happened. COVID's going on. He's a karaoke, so he's in the bar scene because he does karaoke nights.
Yep.
That's what we say, karaoke, right? Karaoke. Yep. Okay. Trivia too. Sometimes the karaoke guys do trivia too. Okay.
Yep.
And do you start going to the bars again?
Yep. Start going to the bars. Now I'm like before I got pregnant with Riker, I was starting to dabble in drinking hard liquor again. Like, I mean, I never really, outside of the benzos, I mean, I tried cocaine. I never got the appeal of it, the 30-minute high, getting sober, like cool, but I wouldn't pay money for it. But it came back to starting that hard liquor again. And, I've never done tequila before. So they encouraged me to do a shot of tequila. And then I was like, oh, I like tequila a lot of liking tequila. Ended up with your drunk alter ego, Tiffany. She got into it with a cop, and I was doing okay for quite a while. And then it's when I started running my own karaoke shows. So I'm in the bar. We did trivia Thursdays, and then Friday, Saturday, I'm in the bar for karaoke while also working a full-time job and also being a mom to 3 kids. But
mom to 3 kids, yeah.
Yeah. On the weekends, my girls go to their dad. We only have Riker, so it was easy to find someone to take him. And it kind of progressively got to where the hard liquor was taking over. And now I'm drinking Crown Apple and more Crown Apple. And, it didn't progress quickly. But once it got there, I mean, I was blacking out 3 nights a week.
Yeah.
Because I'm downing shots of Crown Apple. Like,
yeah.
I lost my karaoke gigs because I was blacking out and I wasn't performing the way I should have. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. I get it. That just kind of turned me into, that was when like my first public intox arrest happened. Alex had to call the cops on me because I was, being at a 100 when I didn't need to, getting physical with him. And it came down to I punched him in the face and gave him a black eye. And and he'll fully admit like he wasn't innocent in all this either, but that was a line crossed. So he left and we weren't together for about a year. And after a while I started seeing this guy that we both knew. And he was like, well, and he was a big drinker too. And he's like, well, we're going to stop going to the bars and save money. Cool. In theory, until now I'm to the point where at minimum a day to myself, I'm drinking a fifth of Crown Apple minimum.
Yeah.
And I'm waking up with the shakes in that. So I work from home. So I, grab my bottle of Crown Apple and I walk over to my desk and I get logged in and I'm sipping on Crown Apple all day because otherwise I feel super sick.
Yeah. You watch Always Sunny?
What?
Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Oh, yeah.
When they all had the flu and they all thought they had the flu and it turns out they all just weren't drinking all week.
Yep.
And they were all just going through withdrawals. And they're like, oh, so we can just drink and we're going to be fine. And
exactly.
they went back to drinking again. But like the shakes and the sweats and the aches and the pains and, your muscle spasms and you feel like you can't move. Like, oh my God. And you could, let's be real, like you can have a seizure.
Yep.
You're very prone to seizures and you could die.
Yep.
It's so crazy to me that one of the most prescribed things out there is benzos. But if you stop taking them on a dime, you can die.
Yep.
And the most advertised thing out there is alcohol. And if you stop doing that when you're a big drinker on a dime, you can die. Opiates are
deadly to quit.
Opiates are horrible to come off of, but you're not going to die.
Yep.
When I got clean off opiates, I knew I wasn't going to die. But like alcohol and benzos, you don't know what's going to happen.
Nope.
No idea.
And I didn't really realize all that. So when I was like realizing like, oh my God, me and this guy didn't work out great. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking because I knew I wasn't over Alex. I think it was just kind of like a stick it to the man type thing. Like you're going to realize you should have stayed with me. But I think that's about the time when I found hams. And so I started, I talked to my doctor and they suggested tapering. Great in theory, if you can do it, because if I'm like, oh, well, I'm going from an entire fifth in like the small glass bottle of Crown, right? Let's say that's my average. Well, you're going to measure it out and you're only going to, sip on a shot. Like you're not going to take the full shot. If you're feeling really yucky, sure, take a full shot, but then you're going to wait an hour before you pour another one to sip on it. Yeah, great. In theory, because I can't say no and I can't say stop. So it didn't do, it worked okay for a while. And then I was just getting drunk again. Like I couldn't. So I finally checked myself into medical detox.
Good. Yeah, I can't taper off hard stuff. Like I could taper off some things, and I have tapered off some things. But when it comes to something like alcohol or hard drugs, there's no tapering for me. Like once I get a little bit of it, I want all of it because it's as simple as that.
It's all or none.
Yeah.
Like,
And I know
why am I even going to do the drink? Like,
and I'm so glad it works for some people. It's such a blessing that it works for some people. It's just not in my wiring. And I don't know if it's because of it's because we're both bipolar. Who knows?
Right.
Maybe it's because of BPD. Maybe it's because of trauma. Maybe it's because of this, that, or the third. Who knows what it is? But tapering and JD just doesn't usually work. So how long were you in medical detox for, Shelby Jo?
I was in 4 days. In that 4 days, Alex was amazing. He went to my house and I said, because this was the house we had together, because, we've been living with each other since 17.
Yeah.
And this was last year. Yeah, last year, at the end of July. And I was like, I need you to go through and grab every bottle. And I go, you are going to find them in places you don't realize alcohol should be. And he was like, he went and he cleaned all the alcohol up. Anything that was left, he dumped it, everything. And he like looked at me with like the saddest eyes. He's like, I didn't realize that it had gotten that bad. Cause I mean, he's like, I looked under your bed. He's like, and it was just liquor bottles. And I was like, yep, because
graveyard.
Yeah. And I was like, I was getting drunk all the time. Like I was a shitty mom. Couldn't tell you most of my kids' stuff that was happening at that time. I went to things and I would lie about drinking. You didn't see me not drunk, like, or at least, you didn't see me sober anymore. And so I think it was about day 4 when I got out. Alex got me and they told me, they said, you're out of the area for withdrawals, or for seizures. So they're like, all of your stuff looks really good. They had given me like some different vitamins and minerals and gave me a bunch of fluids. They started me on naltrexone, and got me back on my mental health meds. And because, you're not going to prioritize that when you can drink liquor, because who wants to do that? So they told me, they said the next 2-3 days, they're like, you are going to feel like shit. And I was like, seriously? Like, I'm not past it yet. Like, I mean, I'm so weak. I can't physically eat. I couldn't even take down the chicken broth that they gave me. Nothing. Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, it's about to get a little bit worse. I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Like, how? And I told Alex, he left for his show that night. And he's like, if you need me, he's like, you call me. And I was like, well, I'll be fine probably. But like, I don't feel good. And I haven't eaten in days, like probably even days before that, because I prioritize alcohol over eating. Because
yeah, of course,
don't need a meal.
Yeah, that just gets in the way of my drinking.
Exactly. Like now my stomach's full and I don't feel like I want to drink. Like that's dumb. Yeah. So
I get drunk faster if I don't have food in my stomach.
Exactly. I'm a cheaper date minus, the whole crown apple aspect of it.
Yeah.
But
crown apple, every time you say that, it just goes through me like knives, Shelby.
I know. It's
just thinking of crown apple.
I smelled it the other day at one of the karaoke shows. They were pouring it because, I'm at the point where I can go to stuff. And I'm like, why did I drink that? Why?
Yeah. So, because you had said you put together like 60 days. So
yeah, I was almost. So that was after that medical detox.
Yeah. Okay. So you put together like 2 months.
Yep.
August, September, and then October you started drinking again.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I decided it was football season. We were doing football parties. I wasn't craving the alcohol, so I felt that I could manage it. I would be fine. Like, I'm not going to do hard liquor. Like, what I'll do is 2 shooters of Pink Kinky are allowed in on a football Sunday. That's it.
This is what I don't like about hams, if I'm being
honest.
I
don't either.
I love the people I met in hams. But, and I've talked about this, I think it gives people sometimes a false sense of security.
Yep. That's what it did for me. 100%.
Where you're in this group, this support group, which it is a support group.
Yep.
And you're seeing John, Billy, Joe, and Katie post about how they can, drink here and there and they're okay. And now here's Shelby Jo thinking, well, if they can all stop drinking and then drink like a regular person again here and there, because it's football season on a Sunday or a Saturday during a college football, maybe I can too. And then it's not for everybody. It doesn't work because, like we said, with the brain chemistries, we all have something different in our wiring. And like, I support Matt, medical assistant treatment, and I support harm reduction. But I think that some people get, like I said, that false sense of security. Think they can drink and use, drugs like regular people, and it's not the case for everybody, unfortunately. And I'm one of those people. I can't do it, and obviously, go on. You tried to think that you could, right?
Right. Yep, I did. And it was fine for a while, and then an incident happened where I was making some food for football Sunday, and I was going to pour the noodles that I was making and pour the water out. And somehow the way that I had stepped, and I hadn't been drinking yet, but I stepped over to the sink funny, and all of the hot water splashed up my arms. And so I managed to drop it in the sink, thank God. But I had burned my arms and my hand, like my hands were bad. So, I was still on that. I allowed myself 2 pink kinky shooters. Well, that day, when I went and bought them, I bought 4. I was like, okay, 4. I hurt myself. It's okay. Here we go, justifying why it's okay to do more. And then we had some friends over, and one of them was like, hey, like that looked like that sucked. Here's Fireball. And like Fireball is one that's always been off limits up for me because I just get mean on it for some reason. Can't figure out why. Just always do. So I'm like, oh yeah, like I've been doing really good. Like it'll be okay to do this one. And then of course, progressively, I'm doing more and more. Well, now when I say I'm not doing hard liquor, I'm thinking Crown Apple. I swore off Crown Apple. I won't touch anything Crown related. Well, now I'm drinking 99 banana varieties. Like, I don't know how I even got there outside of they were $5 for $5. The shooters were at the gas station by our house.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, well, I like cherry. And I mean, they taste like somebody spit the flavor in there and then poured it with gasoline. Like the stuff it's not good. And, that's when we got to that night, and it was every right combination at the wrong time. And
did you watch How I Met Your Mother?
Yes.
When the cocktail episode, when they're trying to get Barney and Barney and Marshall to make up, and they're trying to figure out the perfect cocktail of like, well, no, you can't get Barney this. Well, you can't get Marshall this, and they're going back and forth with which drink, makes them do what, and it end up with beer is what makes them chummy. But they go through all the different liquors to see which one was going to work. But yeah, it's that perfect cocktail that happens eventually where, shit just hits the fan and you kick somebody that's a worker. What was it called again?
Assault on a person in occupation.
Assault on a person in occupation. Shelby Jo. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I tried to fight it because, like, after that,
you tried to fight the person that you were assault.
Yeah, I was just trying to fight everything. I don't know,
You can't fight the people that have occupations, Shelby Jo. You know that.
Now I know, and I won't do it again. Probably. Like I'm just not a violent person unless I'm drinking. I can get extremely violent.
I'd say it's funny, but it is. You have to laugh at that shit. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh yeah, I look back and laugh now.
Yeah, if you don't laugh at some of the things that we put ourselves through in addiction, then it's going to live rent free in your head and drive you to insanity.
Yep. And just bring you down.
You take with somebody who's been in recovery for a while from a bunch of different drugs and alcohol. I had to find ways, and I love doing the show as you can tell, we laugh just as much as like we talked
Yeah.
about some serious shit in the last hour and a half. You know, with growing up and some of the things that have happened, but we've also laughed a bunch of times too, because find that it's important to find ways to laugh at our past, because it's insane. We were fucking insane.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, and you have to find ways to laugh at your insanity sometimes. And a normie's going to watch this and going like, why are they laughing at that?
Right. Like, that's not funny. Well,
any alcoholic or somebody who has any kind of mental health struggles is going to go, oh, I get that. Grippy socks day. That's hilarious.
Yep.
Like, you know, and know exactly what that shit means.
Yep.
So now let's cut to why it's working today for you. Why is it working today for you?
I started off
the last 9 months. This is the most you've gone. This is the most you've gone without a drink, besides being pregnant. And let's be real, you were only really going 7 months without a drink while pregnant. Because you won't find out you're pregnant until a month or two in. Mm-hmm. So, like, this is definitely the most you've gone without a drink. Congratulations again.
Yeah.
In like 20 years. So, why is it working so well for you this time?
Like you said, you have to want it. And I wanted it this time. I wanted to be a better me. Like, I wanted to do it for me. I don't need, I have attended NA meetings, several of them. I really enjoy being able to go and get like my chips as like my little, like, hey, I'm fucking doing it. Like, I've got them hung up in my kitchen on a little board where I can see them all the time. Yeah. Along with some other things that friends have given me. I had a friend that is really close with me. He's going overseas and he is deployed now. But while we were at his party, he gave me a special thing that they give each other, like in the army type of thing. And it meant a lot. And it was because he was proud of me and just wanted to show me.
What are they called? Battle coins or something like that?
I think so. They're like little like square things.
Little medallions.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was really cool. But I wanted it for me. And then wanting it for me included wanting it for my kids. My middle daughter, unfortunately, deals with a dad that also has an issue with drinking, who just can't seem to want to put it down. And I don't want her to feel like she has two parents that would rather drink than be a parent. My oldest daughter and I, she just turned 13 in July. We are working very hard on a relationship together. She is a very sensitive kid and takes everything to heart. And she's very traumatized from it because she was here both nights I got arrested. So it's been
at that age. And at that age,
it's such a terrible, it's such a tough age, especially for a girl.
Especially in 2025.
Yep.
And this isn't 13 in the 90s.
Right.
This is social media, people talk,
Yep. And it's funny you say that because I've raised her by myself, with my family's help, of course, but pretty much by myself from birth to this last year when everything happened. Her dad stepped in. Her dad is a really great guy, do not get me wrong. But I was in a very vulnerable place, and I think they kind of took advantage of that at the time. But she ended up switching schools because people at school were making fun of her. Now, remind you, we don't even have the same last name. We don't really look a whole lot alike. But they were making fun of her because her mom got arrested. And like, how do they find that? But I mean, we have like an inmate page on Facebook where everybody's mugshot. And the reason they get, you can Google it. Like, I don't know why you would be Googling at 12 years old somebody's mom, but like, okay, go off, queen. But
also,
yeah, she
nosy parents.
Yes.
And nosy kids listening to the parents talk. Oh, did you hear blah, blah, blah's mom got arrested? And the little kids, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Because we don't have to say name, blah, blah, blah's mom, Shelby Jo, got arrested. Oh my God, I can't wait to make fun of her. And, that's when the cyberbullying starts. And that's when it's fucking out of hand.
It is. But I mean,
11-year-old stepson. And it's fucking wild, dude.
It is. And it's so fast too. Like, and she's so sensitive that like I understand that maybe the best thing for her
Is she in
would have
therapy
been
yet?
to remove her. But I don't think she should have switched schools. Like I agreed to that because I was in a really low place, just getting out of jail,
Is she in therapy yet?
learning that I'm going to have to live with, these choices, which understandably so. When I got out, I had a friend that had reached out to me right away that's been working the program. And she invited me because I'm not big on AA. For me, AA is a lot more religious based, and I'm
Hmm.
not overly religious. Like for me, I believe I don't require a higher power to not drink.
Yeah.
I choose that every day. I fight for that every day. And no God or anything is going to change that for me because frankly, if they could have, why did I fall into alcohol the way I did in the first? I battle with that one a lot. Um, but I do like being able to converse with people that deal with that. And she was one that got me into it right away. She gives me all of my chips. I love her. She's always there for me. So she's been a real blessing. The beginning, I'm not going to lie, was hard. I still go through phases. I stopped taking my mental health meds at about 3 months just to kind of see like how I am sober.
How
Am
that go?
I as testy? Like we're getting to the point now where we're like, yeah, we need a little something. We gotta get this girl balanced back out because she be a little snippy.
Yeah,
Um,
I tried that too. I did try
yep,
that. I tried what we call raw dogging it.
yep,
I
yep.
tried raw dogging it.
Try raw dogging out. But hey, I think it's smart for everybody to do it
Yeah.
because you never know
Been
what
on
all
meds for
like
so long, you don't know what it's like to
right.
be completely clean of
Exactly.
everything. I
And you
get it.
may not need all of those medications that you were on before. Like we're going to start me with Prozac again, start low dose, and then see if I need to add the Vraylar again for like the mood stabilizer
And
and
like
kind
we
of
said
going
earlier,
from
it's
there.
trial and error with our brain chemistries.
Yep.
A lot of this is trial and error. So I get it. Yeah, completely get
Yep.
it.
Yep. So those first 3 months I was medicated. They sucked because, you got to find the new you. You got to find things you like. I got, Alex is working at night. So it's like, well, I'm also insomnia, not quite as bad, but I'm up until he gets home at 2:30, but then I'm still up at like 4 a.m. So
Mhm.
what the fuck do I do at night now? So I got like really into diamond art for a while, something, put on a crime show and diamond art away. And, it's crazy finding all these new things, but I've got my middle daughter every other week. Alex and I are living together again. So I have Riker all the time. We recently got 2 kittens because Alex said no, and then he said yes to one, so we got 2.
That's
And my
that's same shit happened to me. I am
yep,
like Alex because my wife said we want to get a kitten for Dominic, our son, and this
yep,
was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and we weren't supposed to have any cats in our apartment.
yep,
And I talked our landlord into letting us have one. We're like, it's for Dominic's birthday,
yep,
and my wife said, well, we have to rescue the kitten. I was like, obviously we're going to rescue. We're not going to, yeah, it's fine. And next thing I know, Mikey, their name's Mikey, my wife, and they're like, okay, so here they are. Their names are Scuba and Diver. I'm like, what do you mean their name? And they're like, well, they're from the same litter. They're brother and sister, and they're a bonded pair.
yeah.
So
So
you
you
have
can't leave with one. Ours are sisters
you
too.
have to get both. And so now we have Scuba and Diver.
There you go.
And we've had them 5 years and they are hilarious together. And, they couldn't be any more alike, but any more different.
Yep.
And they started calling him Diver because, he would dive under blankets. But now he is 21 pounds and chonky.
Oh gosh.
So now I just call him Plops because
Yep.
now he just plops everywhere and doesn't dive anywhere. And but we all call him Plop so often that he responds now to Plops.
That's
Like
so funny.
when you say plops, he's looking around like he knows you're talking to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it though. You get two kittens. Could you say one? And was it your idea to get the two?
Well, it was our friend had an accidental litter of little orange babies, and
Which ones are amazing?
yeah, so I've never really owned cats. My whole life I've owned mini dachshunds. My grandma's bred them. So I have a 7-year-old wiener dog now, Mr. Pete. And I love that dude. Like that dude is my best friend. But he our friend was like, well, we can't find a home for the last one. I'm like, well, is it another girl? Because I don't want a boy cat, but I'll figure out a way to take the second girl cat. And they're like, yeah. So Alex was like, we can only get it if I can nickname it Fat Ass. Well, it was really funny because she showed up with a collar with peaches on it and a little peach thing. And they called her Chunk. So he's like, so she's a fat, and then he's like, the little peach means ass, so she's a little fat ass. He's like, that worked out really well in your favor, Weber. Good job. I'm like, thanks. So we've got the kittens and the kids, and me and my oldest are working things through. So it's going to be a journey with her, but I'm really lucky to have a huge, huge support circle. I mean, I've got Alex. He still does drink, but he will not drink around me. He doesn't bring any alcohol in the house, all that stuff. My best friend, Missy, is top tier. Like that woman has held me crying. My mom would call her and be like, Missy, I can't get a hold of Shelby. I'm worried she's dead. Like she would come to my house and check on me for my mom, my grandpa, because we lost my grandma in 2019, which was probably another reason. The only way I know to deal with things is cutting, and I haven't done that in years now. So
congrats on the cuttings. We didn't really talk about that much, so congrats on that.
Yeah, that's
a huge deal.
Yeah, that was a tough one because now I have to deal with my emotions.
Yeah,
100%. I don't bottle them up until I blow to the point that I cut my wrist or my leg open. So
congratulations, seriously.
Yeah, so we're working through a lot of things. My grandpa has kind of tried to. He's trying. He's pretty cool. Taking my grandma's spot, kind of just being that one. Still working on tools for cravings. Like I allow myself to have more sugar than I probably should. I used to have a honey bun drawer forever. I drank a lot of Code Red Mountain Dew because it's super sugary. Just
all that.
I know if I bite that sugar craving, I'll avoid that alcohol craving. I've been doing really good. I really haven't craved anything, but recently did craved alcohol real bad and cutting really bad. So I went and I got some tattoos. So I've got the One Day at a Time and Progress Not Perfection actually over here. And got one on my thigh, a Shakespeare quote. So yeah, just kind of learned. Sweet.
What does that say?
Progress Not Perfection.
And you can't really read it, but that is a calendar that says One Day at a Time inside.
Nice. We're like tattoo twins.
I know. When I got clean, I had one tattoo, and now if I was to count them, I have 55.
Oh, geez, I'm not quite that far, but I'm getting
all of my arms, and a lot of them are like I'm really into pop culture, like TV shows, movies. A lot of references like Breakfast Club or like Christmas Story, and like the famous S.
Yeah. Oh God, that's how I used to sign my name.
And like the Christmas lamp, the leg lamp from A Christmas Story, and John Bender at the end of Breakfast Club, and a bunch of random shit like that. And kind of is what I got into myself. And then my wife got a tattoo machine, and we just started tattooing me up in the living room,
having fun.
And, what are you gonna do when you have this many? People don't see bad tattoos, No. You don't notice the bad ones. So, but no, you find different ways. You're going to find different ways to cope. And insomnia is such a bitch. And I've found different ways to try to battle that. A couple of years ago before they've tried all the meds, all the sleep meds. None of them work.
They won't give me stuff like Ambien and that. because
It
of the
didn't work.
addictive quality.
It didn't even work for me. Seroquel put me in the hospital. Ambien didn't work. All these meds didn't work. There was at one point, two Aprils ago, 2023, I was awake for 11 straight days. Like, not on like substances. Like, I was smoking a lot of weed to try to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Wasn't doing it. Like, wasn't drinking, wasn't using stimulants, wasn't drinking coffee. I was just awake for 11 days.
That's crazy.
So, like, it's a battle. What are you going to do?
Right.
But do you get dreams?
Yeah. And I've noticed my dreams and like my potential cravings that really ramp up around another month sober. Like dreams of like Alex and I being at a party and me having a bottle of Crown Apple in my hand and he takes it, but then I end up chugging it, like, or, stuff like that. I don't know. It's really
Did you
weird.
have nightmares growing up?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they are. That's what they
Oh.
are. This is your new nightmare. Which is
Makes
it's a
sense
good thing.
because I definitely wake up in sweats and almost in tears.
I tried to, and that's why I asked you that, because growing up, I had nightmares, and now my nightmare is relapses.
Yeah.
So, whenever I have a nightmare now, it revolves around, like I told you, I had a vivid nightmare about my ex, right?
Yeah.
Recently, and that's when I snapped on my wife. In the nightmare, my ex was saying that she's been alive the whole time and that she didn't really die, and she was manipulating me into getting her coke. And I kept saying no, no, no. And finally she manipulated me and I went to go get her coke. I'm from Jersey, like Camden, Philadelphia. And then I got my car stolen and I got robbed, and I called my mom for help. And my dad, who passed away 2 years ago, he answered the phone. He started yelling at me that Colleen's dead and I'm a fucking idiot. And I'm out of my mind. And I woke up just sweating, hyperventilating.
Oh, wow.
My new nightmares are things like relapse.
Yeah.
Revolve around drugs. And your new nightmares are going to be using, they're going to be
Yep.
drinking. That's what your new nightmares are. So once you can understand why you're having those dreams, it's a lot easier to cope with having those dreams.
Yeah.
If you wake up from having a dream, being like, oh my God, why did I just dream that I was drinking? Does this mean I'm going to drink? And you start freaking out, like, was that a premonition that now I'm going to drink? No. It can be a premonition if you let your mind take you there.
Right.
But when you have the mindset that, like, oh, it was just a fucking nightmare.
Yep.
I had nightmares my entire life. That was just a nightmare. That's what it is. Chalk it up as that and move on with your day.
Yep.
It won't hold that space in your head that'll take you down that avenue of like, well, I was meant to drink because my nightmare said I did, or my dream said I was going to. So it's a lot of that framing your mind. Instead of a want and a need, it's a nightmare instead of a dream.
That makes sense.
You'll be able to process it a lot more. And if you do have any questions, like, reach out. We're friends now on Facebook. You know what I mean? Yeah. I quit drinking a long time ago after a long time of drinking. And I've had people come back on my show multiple times that I became friends with.
Yeah.
My sober network is this show and people that I go to NA with and AA. So do not be shy. I just spent 2 hours getting to know you, and you spent 2 hours getting to know me.
Yeah.
Now we're friends. So, and it was awesome getting to know you. I'm so proud of your progress that you've made and the shit that you've survived and lived through from, growing up with the babysitter and the cutting and the drinking and, never really knowing your dad, like, in and out, not really having a father figure, you're doing fucking amazing for 9 months. Like, keep going, keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
If you're ever feeling triggered that you feel like you want to drink, you have my Facebook, just message me. I answer my messages right away.
Absolutely.
So do not be shy. thank you so much for
Yeah.
sitting down and spending 2 hours and being an open book. I really appreciate it, Shelby.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, JD. It was so nice to meet and talk with you.
You too. Have a nice day.
You too.
Bye.